College Success Arizona presents Scholar Interviews. The following interview features Edlyn Ruiz.
So I was born in Phoenix, raised in Mesa, Valley girl all the way, born and raised.
What are your memories of growing up?
Growing up, I always remember being in school, and I was always very active. So I was the one girl that you can count on to be involved in every organization, whatever she could. I would stay after school. Early on, I was orchestra and band and cheerleading and choir, and I played tennis, and so I was very, very active. I enjoyed the fine arts, enjoyed dancing. So anything that got me out and about and talking to people and just being with the other kids was really fun to me.
And what are you doing now in terms of academics? Where are you attending college? Are you a junior or senior?
Yeah, no, I'm a senior at ASU. I'm at the W.B. Carey School of Business. That's the business school at ASU. I'm a double major in finance and marketing, and I'm also getting 2 certificates. So I'm getting my international business certificate and knowledge and entrepreneurship certificate.
What are you planning to do as a career? What are you hoping to do as a career?
Yeah, so I'm planning to graduate in May, and after that I'm moving to New York City, and I signed an offer letter with J.P. Morgan, and I'll be doing investment management for them. So what that looks like is just basically working on portfolios, and I guess you could say it's more of like an advising and maintenance type of role within the investment. So asset management is really an industry. So asset management is just basically the management of assets professionally. And so I'll be working on the global aspect of that, which is the institutional side, so for companies.
You're talking about people with money and assets of which I have no understanding.
I'm trying to break it down because I know it's complicated. So, yeah, it's an umbrella of asset management, and it sounds fancier than it is. It's basically managing assets for institutions, so for companies.
And right out of school to start in New York City, the Big Apple, J.P. Morgan Chase, maybe the biggest bank in the country. I mean, that's exciting, right?
That's really exciting, yeah.
Phoenix is a big city, but New York is a big city in a very different kind of way, culturally.
Yeah, I know. I was fortunate and blessed and lucky enough to have been able to intern there last summer. So it was a lot of work. I mean, I had very, very long days. Every day I worked anywhere from 12 to 14 to 16 hours, and it's very competitive. It's a very aggressive field, especially being a woman. I think, we're obviously outnumbered, especially in the finance industry and business in general, but it was rewarding, and that was what kept me going. So, if I knew that I was doing something that made an impact and I could see the direct impact I was making in the company, then that kept me going every day. And it was definitely a different city. First time riding the metro, didn't have a car out there, so it was very different, but I loved it.
Is it something that you thought about growing up, possibly either living in New York or working for a bank in New York, commerce, finance, marketing?
No, not at all. I mean, up until maybe my last year of high school or college, I didn't even know what Wall Street was. Early on in college, I didn't even know, I didn't know the difference. I knew banks existed. I didn't know the difference, really, the services they offered. It was when I was really young, and I remember being 15, and my mom opened my first bank account for me, and so she wanted to teach me early on financial literacy and the importance of it. So I think that's something that I've seen. There's a gap between what people get taught in school and what really matters in terms of money management. So I want to be able to understand that. That was really fascinating for me going into ASU. And initially I was a marketing major, but then I switched to finance because it captured my attention, and I loved numbers and stuff, and it was really interesting.
And so far as College Success Arizona, when did you first become familiar with College Success Arizona?
Yeah, so I first became familiar with College Success Arizona before it was College Success Arizona. It used to be called the Arizona College Scholarship Foundation. I learned about it through an ACE program. So in high school, I was a part of the ACE program, which was a college-bound program so you went to school for 3 hours on Saturdays, and you basically went to college on Saturdays to start earning college credits, and it was basically a program that allowed you to get ahead in college. So I started doing that on Saturdays, and they'd have monthly workshops for us, what college would be like and what we're doing, how we're getting ahead, and resume and networking tips. And during one of those workshops, we actually had someone from CSA come in and introduce us to the scholarship. And I remember my advisors there with the ACE program really encouraged me to apply, and they wanted me to apply. And I did, and it's been one of the greatest things ever.
Has it helped you to avoid or limit student debt?
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, Myrna is my advisor, and Myrna has become more than an advisor. She's my friend, and CSA is the only organization that's made me feel that level of closeness and so comfortable with the people there. And I remember whenever I would go up to her and I'd tell her, what I wanted to do, or that I wanted to do this now and switch, and she was always very, very supportive. So because of it, I'm basically going to come out of college debt-free.
You mentioned Myrna Cardenas, who has acted as your success advisor or mentor, so that's been extremely helpful throughout your college experience, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every crazy idea that I've ever had, she's taken a personal interest in me. She's emailed me asking me how I'm doing. She's texted me. I feel like she cares about me, and more than anything, she always encouraged me. So sometimes when I felt like I was getting too far ahead of myself, she basically always inspired me to dream big. And that came a long way for me, because she, was always just like, yeah, go for it, do it. And she cared, and she took a personal interest, and that meant a lot for me.
Where did you graduate high school?
Mesa High.
Did your parents, your family, did they encourage you to attend college and get a degree?
Yeah, both of them were always very, very encouraging. They're not as familiar with the process because neither of them went to college here, and I'd be first generation, but I have an older brother who did. And both, for me and my older brother, whatever we did, if, something was going on and they knew that it'd help me go to college, they'd do it. And so I think that's one area that's really important, because you need that type of support. And so I think that a lot of the things that I've been able to do has been because of them, because they were never hesitant, or they were never too scared to let me go. Or when I was flying and going to flights every weekend to go interview places, they were always there picking me up and dropping me off at the airport and stuff like that. So they've always been extremely supportive.
What were your biggest challenges growing up that you had to overcome?
I think it would be just overcoming my own fear of failure. So, you have this comfort zone and this bubble of comfort zone that you have, and I was very used to staying within that. And then I felt like I went to ASU, and that bubble was blown out of proportion. And I was able to meet people from, all over the world and doing all sorts of different things, and they were all really cool. And so first, I think I was really scared of putting myself out there, because everyone else would know that maybe something didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But then I figured out that I just should try. And so I became a lot more comfortable with challenging myself and just putting myself out there.
What do you say to students who are in school considering their own college career and future career plans? What advice can you offer?
I'd say there's no limits. It's not that scary. But more than anything, I'd say just volunteer and shadow someone. So I used to be a part of the AVID program, which is another college-bound program, when I was in high school. And they did a really good job of just introducing us to everything that would happen in college. And so a lot of students are really scared to go to college because they don't even know what they want to do when they grow up. And so to those people, to those kids, I always say, just volunteer someone that you think you might be interested in. I remember volunteering at a medical thing or a hospital thing, and I realized that if I ever became a doctor or saw blood, I would be dead before my patient. So that was something that I could never do. And the second thing would be, shadow someone. So I actually had my little cousin come with me to school last week, and it's a very popular thing that students are doing now. And what they do is they pair a high school student with a college student that's interested in that field. So, say if I'm doing business, they'll pair me with a high school student, and I'll bring them with me to all of my classes at ASU. and all the instructors are completely comfortable with it, and they get to see, firsthand what a day at ASU or a day in college is like. And most of the time, students are really surprised when they realize, it's not that bad. It's okay, and more than anything, they're learning about something that interests them.
Thank you, Edlyn, for the interview and for working so hard to make a difference in our community.